Hey guys, so I wanted to get on here quickly to address why Apple continues to release old iOS updates for older devices. You may remember last week Apple updated iOS 18 devices with 18.7.4, iOS 16 devices with iOS 16.7.13, iOS 15 devices with iOS 15.8.6, and iOS 12 devices with iOS 12.5.8. Now this week Apple released yet another update for iOS 16 devices. This includes iPhone 8, iPhone 8 Plus, and iPhone 10. But why does Apple continue to release these old software updates for iPhones? Well, I wanted to get on here to clarify that quickly, so let's go ahead and dive right in. So the main reason we continue to see these updates is because Apple wants to extend certification for iMessage and FaceTime capabilities for older devices through 2027. However, with last week's release for iOS 16.7.13, there was several issues, especially in Australia, where some devices were unable to connect to emergency services after the update was released. So today Apple has released iOS 16.7.14 to address this issue. So this means that users in Australia will now be able, according to Apple's release notes, to connect to emergency services and make phone calls in case they need to use those older devices. And this latest update will fix this issue. Now today Apple also released updates for macOS 11.7.11 was released today as well, watchOS 10.6.2, and watchOS 9.6.4, all available as of today. And again, according to Apple's release notes, this will extend certification for Face ID and iMessage so they can continue to operate on these older devices. Keep in mind, a lot of users, although they don't use iOS 16 devices or even iOS 12 devices as their primary device, they still may use them for FaceTime calls or emergency calls at any given time. So Apple wants to make sure that these devices are still functional. Now let's talk about iOS 26.3, which is currently sitting in beta 3. And I know a lot of you guys are now waiting for perhaps the RC release soon or maybe another beta. So according to a new report from Bloomberg, Apple plans to release a new M5 Pro and M5 Mac new MacBook Pros with macOS 26.3. Now, according to this report, these new machines are expected towards mid to late February, if not early March. Now, typically when Apple releases macOS 26 or 26.3 in this case, we see iOS, iPadOS, watchOS, and tvOS updates released alongside it. So if that is to be the case, I think Apple could release another beta for iOS 26.3 beta 4 sometime later this week. We'll have to wait and see if Apple does release an RC. It looks like new MacBooks may be coming early February alongside iOS and macOS 26.3, but all depends on what Apple decides to do this week. I believe we'll see another beta 4 this week, RC next week, official release towards mid to late February. So again, stay tuned here to the channel. As soon as new updates become available, I'll make sure to update you guys with another video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.